in ways that we saw 2 years ago when they were, their most prolific version of themselves. If Josh Simmons at left tackle is trash, this team is fucked. They're going to be.
That's a really good way to put it. Yeah.
They will be looking to add depth as soon as possible to the offensive line. So that's that. An 8-game suspension for Rashee Rice. They traded Sky Moore. So Worthy and Hollywood Brown especially. It's like, bro, it's time for you to have a year. Like, you have been just like a luxury item on both the Ravens and now the Chiefs. It's like, how blessed can you be as a receiver to get Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes, and we still don't think of you as a legit wide receiver too? Like, too many drops in big moments, so he's got to step it up. And then Juju, he's solid. I appreciate his production, but let me see what else I wrote here. What don't I know about this team that doesn't get solved with Andy Reid being the coach? Yeah. Andy Reid will solve everything. And by the way, you see people shot up the Kansas City Chiefs headquarters. It doesn't shoot up. A bullet hit like
the headquarters?
Where Coach Reid's office was, like 15 feet from it.
Sheesh.
Apparently this is the second time this has happened. Crazy.
That's wild.
The only way to stop the Chiefs, some are saying.
Take out Mahomes.
No, take out Andy Reid, bro.
Yeah.
Mahomes goes in.
Man, that's crazy. No, I didn't see that. I want to just reiterate something and just add clarity.
Yes.
It's anywhere from 4 to 8 games for Rashee Rice. There's a hearing that's being delayed. He just got clearance to travel with the team to Brazil. Both Visa and the NFL allowing him. So at the time that we're recording, we're not really sure. Look, that game is on Friday. But the time that you're hearing this. So yeah, I mean, dude, I had told you 25-1 for comeback player of the year, because I think he's a hell of a receiver. His rookie year was outstanding, and him, Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Kelsey, whenever you need to take the Ferrari out the cart or out the garage, they could be interesting. But I still think that they're the cream of the crop in the division. I just don't think that. I think their time in the AFC might be done, but not the AFC West.
I get you. I definitely, there's a little bit of fatigue that we're starting to encounter here.
Yeah.
And they need maybe it's just another major acquisition on the offensive side that will, reinvigorate our love for what Patrick Mahomes does with these players. But my final division standings are the Chiefs at 12-5, the Raiders at 11-6, both those teams making the playoffs, and then the Chargers finishing 10-7 and the Broncos finishing 9-8.
Wow, you got all 4 in the playoffs, huh?
No, I don't have all 4 in the playoffs. I had marked it with the asterisks there, but then after I kind of laid everybody out together, I'm like, nah, it's impossible. Yeah. They would all have to be 10-win teams, or they you get creative with they win the matchups early on in the year, and they have the tiebreaker.
I got Chiefs 11-6, Chargers 10-7, Raiders 9-8. Those are my 3 playoff teams in the conference. Well, in the division.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got Denver at 7-10. I'm going against the grain here on this one, and we'll see. We'll see. I kind of felt strongly about Houston last year, even though they made the playoffs. Way easier division,
right?
Way fucking easier division. So you got to take a stand. You can't take over on every team, and I'm just fading the public perception on them. Okay, NFC North, dude, might be, George, dare I say, most compelling division in the league this year for me. Because of all the divisions, I think any of the 4 teams can win the division and it wouldn't shock me. I can't say that about all the divisions. It's the only division in which all 4 teams have 8.5 wins or better. Their Super Bowl odds are 35-1 or better. All the coaches are great against the spread. And it's the only division that the odds are the tightest from favorite to long shot. Vikings plus 550, Lions plus 140, and that's your first and worst by the odds.
Right.
So the division is super compelling. I've had some takes I've had some takes where I'm not high on Detroit. Are you high on Detroit this year?
I am. I'm high on the fact that Aiden Hutchinson literally is him, bro. Like whenever I was
DPOY, baby. I'm on board with that.
Yeah, and I wanted to hold on, just find exactly what I wrote out here for him, because it's the truth about the way that I feel about that team and that defense. So you got I don't love the new OC in the defensive coordinator, right? Like that always is something that shocks me. But for John Morton, who's the new offensive coordinator, and Kelvin Shepard, who's the defensive coordinator, put the ego to the side, copy, paste. Just copy and paste. Do exactly what Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn were doing last year. This team will be extremely solid. Obviously, an offseason to get healthy for the defense makes me extremely hopeful. But what I was going to get at with Aiden Hutchinson and TJ Watt is we used to say TJ Watt was like worth a point, maybe a couple of points on the point spread. Aiden Hutchinson's the same exact way. Like, he is literally unguardable. And the reason why I say this is, and I'm loving these teams that do this on YouTube, the Lions have a show called Inside the Den. If you haven't watched it, they've only had 3 episodes. I appreciate it. It's their own version of Hard Knocks. You think Penei Sewell's good, right?
Yeah.
At least 5 clips on there of Aiden Hutchinson absolutely embarrassing him. And I was like, sold. This dude is insane. So the offense, I still think, is just extremely high-powered. Jared Goff is as solid as they come. I feel like that team got too creative last year. Like, they didn't need to do all those cool trick plays and shit. They would have still been blowing teams out by 40. It's just that Ben Johnson will occasionally throw it to the right tackle, and now he's the most sought-after offensive coordinator. It's like, pump the brakes, people. The fundamentals win everything, and so that's why I am very, very high on the Lions this year. This team just shouts NFC South number 1 seed, or NFC number 1 seed.
Again, huh?
Again.
Damn.
That's culture. That's fucking culture right there. That's a straight culture pick.
Okay. 10.5 wins, plus 140 division, 4-1 NFC, Super Bowl 10-1, 7-2 on one-score games. I actually like them to miss the playoffs.
Wow.
Plus 220. Hear me out.
Surprised that's not a little bit more.
Yeah, I am a little surprised about that too. Ragnow retires. The schedule more difficult. Zietler signs with the Titans. Lose both coordinators. Road games are at Baltimore, at Washington, at Cincy, at Kansas City, at Eagles. Defense will be better despite losing Aaron Glenn because of all the injuries they had.
Right.
If Hutchinson is going to be a DPOY candidate like he was last year before he got hurt, it'll elevate everyone around him. This is like, it's a hot take that I have them missing the playoffs, because if you just look at talent, there's a lot of talent on this fucking team. But I have to trust like my insight on football and knowing like, yo, you lose both coordinators, you're going to have some regression.
Yep.
The schedule, the one-score games. I will say this. They're kind of a buy low team in a weird way, because they've been the team everyone's fucking glazing the last 2 years.
Yep.
And I think old me would be like, yo, I'm in on the Lions. Like, if they didn't have the losing of the coordinators, the schedule, I'd be like, man, I'm going to be on Detroit this year. But I think for Super Bowl and conferences, no, maybe for the division, yeah. Maybe, to your point, first place regular season, sure. But golf is going to golf, man.
Yeah.
And there's just something about it when it comes to those big moments. He just folds. And I want to give a shout out to Brian Branch. I think he's one of my favorite players to watch. Like, you know, Collinsworth. Yeah. Collinsworth always goes, this guy. PFF, right? Number 1 overall defensive player. You know, like, he always makes plays.
For sure.
So, personally, I think the window closed for them. And it's hard because you look at the roster and they have mad fucking talent, bro. They have talent everywhere. But I'm taking a stand, and I don't have them making the playoffs. It's because I'm higher on some other teams in the division.
You got to tell me what that team is next.
Okay. Do you want me to tell you another team I'm high on, or my division winner?
You got to get me with your winner now.
My winner?
At this point.
Chi-Town, stand up.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, bro.
Wow. By the way, I'm going to my phone here now because one of my friends, Nikki Bellinger, that you probably remember from Sticky Paws,
yeah,
big Chicago Bears fan. So I was like, hey, NFL preview show tonight. I want you just to give me, you're a diehard fan. Give me a rundown of everything you said. Tell me what you think their final record will be. And I'm almost certain it's the same one she had.
11-6.
She had them at 12-5.
Okay.
High on the Bears, though. Drinking the Kool-Aid.
The Bears.
The Bears.
All right. 8.5 win total, plus 500 to win the division, 15-1 to win the NFC Super Bowl, 35-1 to win the Super Bowl. So, George, let me tell you why. New interior offensive line. I like that.
Yeah.
Drafted a tight end in Loveland. Got good weapons. DJ Moore. Roma Dunze, right? I like Swift in the backfield. I like the two tight ends, Komet and Loveland. And also that first drive in the preseason against the Bills. I know the first, what did they say? The first 15 scripted. What's the next 15 to 30 look like? Well, I like the misdirection. You know, Loveland down the field, Komet down the field. Love the Ben Johnson hire, right? Young quarterback with an offensive mind. I like everything they've done the last 2 years in the draft and in free agency, and I think there's a first-year coach bump. They play a last-place schedule that they'll benefit from. Roller coaster of the schedule in the sense of, like, tough game, should win. Tough game, you know, like
right.
roller coaster in the sense of, like, there's no
not
murderers.
Be a stretch. Yeah.
There's no stretch where you're like, oh fuck, if you get one out of these next 5, you'll be satisfied. There's none of that. One of the most exciting games for me on the schedule, they play the Commanders, number 1 versus number 2 picks. Their season got them derailed with the Hail Mary last year.
Yep.
And I think it's just a massive upgrade,
what
man.
Week is that?
Let me tell you right now, Commanders versus Bears.
Because that will be I pray to God we're not in Ohio.
Well, it's a primetime game, October 13th. So is that Sunday?
After.
It's the week after, yeah. Okay. Well, it's a primetime game, which rightfully so. It's in Washington, so they go back to the place where it happened.
Jesus.
But, dude, I really just like the schedule plays in their favor, the additions they've made, the regression of the Vikings and the Lions, the staying put the Packers are. And that's because that's the other team I'm high on. Man, if I had to pick one team to go worst to first, that's not the Niners and it's not obvious, like, duh. I think it's Chicago, bro, at plus 500 to win the NFC North for all the reasons that I mentioned. And, of course, I got my dark horse MVP pick, if I want to gamble a little bit, is Caleb Williams, which we put that video out.
We put it up.
And we put it, we put it in there too, man.
So I was trying to think of, like, there's an analogy here for the Bears, right?
Okay.
There is something here. And so the Bears' new acquisitions are like Bill Belichick's new girlfriend. They're the fresh addition everyone's talking about. It's like Bill got the new girl. You know, you see fucking People Magazine, Entertainment Tonight. The Bears finally get their coach. Now to partner up with the quarterback, the number 1 overall pick that's supposed to resurrect the Bears, and it's a fun story. It really is. Dennis Allen. Nobody's talking about Dennis Allen being the defensive coordinator. Dennis Allen's reign as defensive coordinator when he was with the Saints. The Saints were 65-32, making him the second most successful defensive coordinator in Saints history.
Bro, another guy as a DC, we love it. Head coach,
100%. And so I think that their defense was already rather solid. Their secondary is amazing. Jalen Johnson, Byard, Brisker. Stevenson had the shitty play with the Hail Mary, but I think aside from just that one lapse of judgment, he was pretty good. And DeAndre Swift, a resurrection of his career is inbound. Like, I know that whenever you're a new coach in a location, you look for players that you've definitely engaged with and interacted with before. And there is interactions with them in Detroit, Ben Johnson and DeAndre Swift. So I'm a fan of that. I mean, I have the Bears at 9-8, which is second overall in the division, coming behind the Packers. But I just wanted to read off some of the things that Nikki said, because I know she's going to be tuning into this. Bears are always compared to the 80 standards, heavy investment in the coordinator in the secondary line. If Chicago finds the special sauce Detroit's had for 2 years, magic could happen. And then she's all about the mindset. So drinking the Kool-Aid, right? Delulu is the Salulu for the Bears. And then she said something that was hilarious to me. She said, what the fuck with the person who died? She's like, with Virginia McCaskey down, it gives us enough wiggle room now to be a little more free as Bear fans. So, I don't think they feel the same way that the Colts feel about Jim Irsay passing away. So this could be good for the franchise. I don't know the inner workings of the Bears that much, but I've heard Virginia McCaskey passing away means something. Second best in the division for me. I mean, it's a huge improvement to the year before, and I partially am drinking the Kool-Aid too. I feel this division is just, I'm not as high as other people are on it as a whole.
As a whole? That's fair. No, that's very fair, man. I'm very high on this division. And you look at their schedule. Monday Night Football week 1 against Minnesota at home. At Detroit, home Dallas, at Raiders, at Commanders, with a bye week in between. So you're going to play some teams that obviously 2 division games off the rip. Dallas is looking at it like, I don't mind playing Chicago. Right? The Raiders coming here, I'll tell you this much, it's going to be like 75-25 Bears fans.
Of course.
So it'll basically be a home game for them. So, look, the schedule is not the craziest. Like I said, it's a roller coaster. And then after that, they play the Saints. Then they play at Baltimore. Then they play at Cincy. Then they host the Giants. Go to Minnesota. Host Pittsburgh. Like, it's kind of a roller coaster. Like, they have that 2-game stretch where they play the Bengals and they play the Eagles. But again, we'll get to the Bengals in a little bit. In the next segment, I'm not exactly the most excited about them too. So, yeah, man, I'm on Chicago, bro. I'm on Chicago to win the division. It's my favorite long shot division bet of the offseason.
I wish I could be more behind it. I'm such a Dan Campbell fan, and
listen, you know what this could be? You know how we just said about the AFC West?
Yep.
Yo, don't get cute. You're getting a plus 140 on the Lions. Like, don't get cute, bro.
Right.
It could totally be that.
Now, I need to know who is your do you have Bears then Lions, or you have Bears Packers?
Packers win total of 9.5, division plus 250, NFC 10-1, Super Bowl 21-1. They are 5-1 to the over win totals under LaFleur. I believe they have a top 10 defense. They have a very solid running game. They have a bunch of weapons on offense. No one that, like, you're excited to plug into your fantasy lineup unless it's Josh Jacobs, is how I look at the Packers.
Right.
My question to you, and I mentioned him before, bro, with Herbert. Who's Jordan Love? And I think there's a lot of pressure on this dude. I'm a fan of him. I love gunslingers.
Yes.
Love gunslingers. Right?
Agree.
But what's the next step for him? He's not practicing coming into this year. And I think there's a lot of pressure on him, bro. There's a lot of pressure because he's supposed to be the successor in Green Bay. They paid him to be so. And look, for as wacky as their season was last year, they made it to the playoffs.
Yep.
Right? They were a wild card team. Cornerback is an issue.
Yeah. Losing Jair is big.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this much. They're a wait and see for me after the bye week. They have a week 5 bye, and then let's see what they look like.
It's a good gauging point at that point in time. I mean, Josh Jacobs, everything they could have wanted and more coming from the Raiders and just being that premier staple of the offense, even though I don't think that that's what LaFleur likes. I think LaFleur appreciates having more of a spread out type of concept and not having to rely so much on the run. But if you ask me, what was the moment that really changed Jordan Love's career? And we go back to the 23 divisional round versus the 49ers, and a game where he's driving down the field to beat the Niners in the playoffs, and he throws it, I believe it was a second down, across the middle of the field pick that, if I can remember it, Nick, the way that I'm describing it to you right now, I can only imagine what that does to your psyche as you move along in your career until you have a moment that makes you forget it. And I just don't think that this receiving core shouts. This receiving core is one of the sneaky best ones, where it's like, as a collective, it gives me like the feelings that I feel with the Colts, where it's like a whole bunch of mid-level guys that all have popped off at different moments in time, but never really had like the wide receiver one stamp of approval. Matthew Golden, I'm hearing great things about.
Yeah, it's the first round pick they've spent on the wide receiver
since what? Donald Driver?
The 90s?
I don't even know, dude.
But to your point, Jaden Reed, Watson is out, obviously. They got Mecole Hardman. They got Dontavian Wicks. They got Golden. They got Dobbs, Tucker Kraft, right? Josh Jacobs in the backfield. Their backup is Malik Willis, who we saw Matt LaFleur win a couple games with him last year too.
Yep.
So it comes down to Jordan Love, man. It really does. Like, this team could go anywhere from, truthfully, 13-4 to 6-11.
I like it.
Like, I think they have the widest range, because I just don't know what Jordan Love is, and that's the biggest handicap for me for them here. But I like them to make the playoffs.
It's less of what Jordan Love is and more of what Josh Jacobs can be. Like, he literally could be the Saquon Barkley. Yeah.
Well, you saw a resurgence last year in his career, Barkley's career, Henry's career. So all of that played into it, and let's see if they could duplicate it again. But for me, I got the Packers at 10-7, second place in the division.
I got the Packers at 7-10, and I also have this other team at 7-10, the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay, before we get to Minnesota, I have Detroit at 9-8.
Okay,
but I have them missing the playoffs. Minnesota, 8.5 win total, plus 350 to win the division, 12-1 to win the NFC, Super Bowl 22-1. My division winner is the long shot of all of them. Let me ask you, why do you like Minnesota? Or do you like Minnesota?
I am in between on Minnesota right now.
And I feel like that's the most accurate take to have.
I'm not like... So, the success that Sam Darnold had last year with Kevin O'Connell, like, I don't feel that same type of way about J.J. McCarthy. And I almost should, because J.J. McCarthy was in the fucking offense last year. He was in every single quarterback meeting. He's seen the way that this offense is supposed to run, and it's an embarrassment of riches for a rookie quarterback to be walking into and having the luxury of Aaron Jones and Justin Jefferson. It's like, bro, it ain't always like this, all right? So you have to appreciate while you have it. But the things that I liked about this team, Jonathan Grenard, 84 pressures. The reason why I bring this up, that was second most overall behind Jared Verse. Great pass rush, right? The O-line suffered some injuries last year. Hargrave being an addition to the middle of the defensive line makes me like feel solid about it. And they traded away Harrison Phillips just this morning. So that's a captain of the defense that is no longer going to be there, but they've already put the pieces in place to replace. I found this stat to be interesting. And this is like one of those ones where it's like, obviously the coach has a factor in it, but can J.J. McCarthy step it up? Kevin O'Connell has been top 5 in passing touchdowns every year he's been head coach, which would mean that J.J. McCarthy is going to throw for 30-plus touchdowns this year. That would have to be the number for him to stay in the top 5. At least 25 passing touchdowns. This team is or was third best in the league last year in turnover differential. So like you bring up one score games, I also think the turnover differential is a thing that alternates from year to year. Last year they were extremely lucky. Cameron Bynum went off. He had like, I think, almost the most interceptions in the league. He was up there, but this team had a lot of luck. Their defense is good. Kevin O'Connell isn't on the field, but he produces passing touchdowns with quarterbacks that you wouldn't expect. 7-10 for me. 7-10. I think you will experience, like, JJ McCarthy wouldn't have started last year. Is it fair to say that? Or I might be wrong with that.
I don't remember what their competition was in the summer.
It's tough to remember, but I don't think it was like, oh, this is McCarthy's team coming in, which makes me hesitant to like the excitement level we should bring to the Vikings.
Yeah. Hey, man, that was a great take, great rant. Flores gets turnovers as a defensive coordinator. Usually turnovers are hard to, like, you know, if you're plus 30 in turnovers, it's hard to expect that the next year. Right? You're always going to see some regression. You know, they could be plus 20 in turnovers, but it's like, well, how many of those 10 really fucking swung games? You'd have to go back and see. Addison is suspended the first 3 games because of the DUI. There's not a better situation. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. There's not many better situations in the NFL you could come in as a rookie or second-year guy or like a cast-off like Darnold did than this. O'Connell, Jones, Jordan Mason they signed from the Niners. Jefferson, obviously, best receiver in the league. Jalen Naylor played well. TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, right? Like, bro, you're coming into an offense that's fucking loaded. So just don't crash the car if you're JJ McCarthy.
Yep.
Now, if he steps in on the offense, 120 to 1 to win MVP in some places. I've made dumber bets. Just think about it. Like, think if he steps in and he has the year that Darnold had last year.
They win the division.
They win the division. He's an MVP candidate at 120 to 1. Like I said, I think I've made way dumber decisions. And I think the situation he's coming into is like, bro, look, you could be coming into the Jets.
Fuck, bro. I would take I'm just thinking, I would take myself at 250 to 1 stepping in at quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings. Like, come on. I think I would literally be able to throw for at least 2,500, 3,000 yards. And the Minnesota Vikings.
Lefty?
Bro, we'll run bubble screens all day. I can't really push it down the field, but
yo, you know what's funny? I got into
whatever KOC tells me to do, I'm doing.
I got into an argument one time with my friends. I was like, yo, I can complete a pass in an NFL game. They're like, bro, you're fucking crazy. I'm like, bro, I can complete an NFL pass in an NFL game. They're like, bullshit, what are you calling? Tyreek Hill jet sweep?
You do a
little shuffle pass, right? I'm just going to be over here like, that's a pass. Hey, that's a pass. Listen, you don't like it? Fucking argue with the NFL on the play calling and the playbook, right? In the rule book. So when you want to argue with people, be like, yo, I could complete a pass in the NFL.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, bro. I mean, I could for sure throw an arrow route. Get me on a play action. And that's when I would feel most comfortable. If I'm being honest, if I'm on the run, little flood concept. All right. Enough.
Oh, bro, you can't like hike, throw a swing pass to Saquon Barkley. You can throw a swing pass.
But if I got Aaron Jones in the backfield, do I sucker him in? I'm suckering the linebackers in for an